As always, guests on Keel appear, heard via the Jack Spring Electric Keel Newsmaker hotline. The latest of those is Louisiana State Senator Barry Milligan. Hey, Mr. Barry, welcome back to Keel. How you doing this morning?
How are you, Robert? How are you, Aaron?
Good. Excellent, sir. Let's start here. I guess last week, the Louisiana State Police was told by the Texas State Police that they weren't going to set up checkpoints at the state border. And now I guess at least at some points they've set up checkpoints on the state border. Can you clarify for folks what they can do, what they can't do, what they are doing, what they are attempting to do? Because it seems to, I just keep hearing different things from different people. What can you clarify for us?
Well, I'll tell you, it was a bit of a surprise. You know, we were sitting at the table when the commander of the state police said, "No, look, I talked to the commander of Texas. There's no point. There's no plans for checklists." And here we are a week later. There's plans for checkpoints. I'm sorry, and so we're all kind of scratching our heads. But I do know that if you go to the Louisiana State Police website, there's a form, a single-page form that you can print, that you can put on your dashboard if you're heading into Texas, and it basically just answers those questions. Hey, where am I going? How long am I going to be here? You know, Texas, they ask those questions if you come to a particular checkpoint. They can't keep you in Texas. They can't quarantine you in Texas. You can go and stay as long as you want to and come back when you want to. I know that if they follow the plan that Florida used, they're going to have a separate lane for commercial vehicle activity to not slow those down and also alleviate some traffic. We're all kind of anxious to see what this looks like.
But it's still going to slow things down. And watching it yesterday, you know, you could see it on I-10, I-20. It was slowing things down big time already, and those trucks need to get where they're going.
That's correct. That's correct. And again, we're hoping that they use a particular lane for commercial vehicles to get those through, because yes, you've got food supplies coming through, gas supplies coming through, shipments coming in, shipments going out. It is a pain. I know that the traffic just to get to Texas to go visit a loved one or get to the airport is going to be a nightmare. Again, it was something originally we were told, no, we're not going to have checkpoints. We're going to have extra patrols. If you're speeding, we pull you over. We may ask you where you're going and how long you're staying. And then a week later, again, to reverse course and to talk about checkpoints. Excuse me. I just don't see how that's feasible, but we're going to find out shortly.
The Surgeon General says this week we're coming into will be a Pearl Harbor moment and a 9/11 moment for our nation. That we're going to see numbers unlike we've seen in the past. Is that a concern in Louisiana still, that we're going to see numbers continue to rise rapidly, or have we already hit that?
I believe that what we're going to see is a one more big push, I believe, to cover additional testing. I know that I understand that there's going to be a testing facility opened up today at a Walmart in Shreveport for additional tests. I don't know which Walmart. I haven't heard. There was a big concern about not having enough testing in the more rural parishes, so there's a push for that. Obviously, the more tests you see, the more tests that roll in, the more positives you've got, and those numbers do spike. We are optimistic, though, that we're getting ahead of it, and what we're watching is for the percentages to start to flatten a little bit, and I'm watching those on a daily basis. There was some expectation that we may start to see a little bit of the flattening of the curve starting today. We'll see. I think we're going to see another fairly good-sized spike in testing this week as we bring on some more testing facilities. But what we're looking at is the percentage of the positive testing, those percentages of those that go in the hospital. We really are hoping to see the flattening on the percentage on the deaths. We're all waiting. You know, it's the 10, 12 days out when you roll out a big bulk of tests like we did. There's this massive spike, and everybody everybody gasped because those numbers have jumped up overnight, and we've seen that several times. We're hoping this week to see kind of that last big push on testing.
Barry, hold on a second. I'm going to try to get the acronym right. GOSEP, Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness.
You got it.
Thank you.
Got it.
You're part of those calls. What are you guys what are you talking about? Take us behind the curtain a little bit.
Well, originally it was a room at the state police headquarters known as the Uniform Command Group headquarters, and so at the table you've got the governor, you've got all the cabinet members, you've got National Guard commander, state police commander, GOSEP commander, you've got me, you've got the chairman of Homeland Security for the Senate, you've got the chairman of Homeland Security for the House, and so we were all meeting at this great big table, and everybody goes through. Education is there, higher and lower is there. And so we all meet, and everybody goes through the drill. And so basically what happens is each department's talking about what they're doing to either help or mitigate this crisis. And they present ideas, and the governor and Colonel Wascom, who's over GOSEP, will say, okay, we need to address this, we need to address that, and basically gives everybody their marching orders that let everybody report in. About 2 weeks ago, we went to a conference call format to get everybody out of the same room, which makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. And so we all call in daily. It's about an hour call, and then from there, all the information is disseminated. The nice thing is, I'm able to come to the table. The House rep for Homeland Security is able to come to the table, and we can hear about what's going on through the entire state, but we can also ask questions.
Barry,
and both the House and yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
No, both the House and Senate side, we're able to roll up all our members' questions straight to the governor, straight to the Department of Education, straight to National Guard, and be able to ask those questions, so we feel like we're more informed.
Senator Barry Milligan, let me ask you about this. At that table or in that conference call, how much discussion has there been about a statewide curfew? I know New Orleans' superintendent of public safety says 9 p.m. you need to be home, but it's not a curfew. How close are we to getting there?
Well, I have not heard the governor specifically mention in a while. Early on, before we went to the stay-at-home order, it was mentioned a couple of times, and one of the things that I asked, I said, listen, I said, if there needs to be a curfew, in my mind, it ought to be invoked by the parish presidents, by the police juries in each parish to be able to decide that based on what's going on in that parish. And back then, we had relatively few cases compared to, well, we still have relatively few cases compared to Orleans, but Orleans is obviously the hot spot. And so you can understand why if the parish president of Orleans said, hey, we're going to implement a curfew, the folks in Orleans would understand that. But the folks up here in, say, DeSoto may not, right, if it was a statewide. Mm-hmm. And so far, the plans have been to leave it to the parishes to decide, and a few parishes have. A few police juries and parish presidents have decided that they needed it. I've not heard talk about a statewide curfew as of yet. Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if it popped up. But so far, the governor's leaving it to the locals to decide.